Good morning, beautiful people, and I just want to say a stunning good morning from beautiful South Africa. It is an absolute privilege to be here with you, and I just want to say thank you to David McRae for this incredible platform, Arise and Inspire Speakers. I thought that was absolutely stunning, just to say thank you from the beginning, and for your incredible topics. Now, I chose the topic of fighting injustice because it is something that is so personal and so dear to my heart. It is something that actually challenges me and forces me continuously on a daily basis to question humanity, question where we are heading in life, and what are we doing about it. And when I think about all of the things that are happening right now, the current situations, not just that, where did it start? Why are we experiencing the things that we experience right now? There had to be a beginning in order for this to come to fruition. And if there's a beginning, there can be an end. So when we talk about fighting injustice, what are we talking about? The simplicity of it is this. I'm talking about how do we stand up for the people who have no voices? How do we step up in our own lives, using our voices and the power of our voices to move people from where they are at right now to where they deserve to be, and that is having their human rights and the ability to be honored as people. And so as I contemplated this topic of fighting injustice, I thought, what is the best way to address this? I thought, let's go back a bit. When we look at where it all began, the simplicity of it is all man-made rules and the need to control and be in control of others. And when we look at fighting injustices, a lot of people dumb it down to just racism. So let me take this a step further. Fighting injustice is not just about the color of somebody's skin. It has to do with their thinking. It's got to do with their prejudices, their unconscious biases, their beliefs, their thoughts, the things that have been ingrained in them in their subconscious mindset that comes into action in their conscious beliefs and their habits and the way they treat others on a daily basis. So when you think about it, this is a very, very powerful way to actually take a look at ourselves and where we're at. So instead of blaming other people, we get to the point where we realize we have always been in control of the things that we do, the things that we say, our behaviors, and even the way we make people feel about themselves. So if we've always been in control, what has been stopping you from preventing the way people treat each other? Do you stand back when you watch somebody being bullied? Or do you step up? Are you the type of person who says, enough is enough and I'm doing something about this? Everybody's talking about unemployment and poverty, and they talk about depression, and they talk about mental illness, and they talk about, see, there's the thing, a lot of people talk about it. But there are a stunning few that actually do something about it. We have a lot of people who will sit on their couches and happily tell you, this is not right, that person's wrong. And then they will pick on all of the people who stand up and stand out, and will sit there and dissect what is not right about them. And they'll pick on something about the person they don't enjoy, and they will dumb them down to their level. But here's the thing. It takes strength, it takes power, and it takes a lot of guts and courage to stand up and be counted for your voice and what you've got to say. You see, because every single voice counts. And when you think about it, all of these injustices that we are experiencing, gender issues, generational gap issues, racism, biases, all of the things, prejudices, everything, where people even use religion as their excuse for why they are horrible human beings, for why they will stomp down in somebody's spirit. They use religion as an excuse for their filthy behavior. And when we talk about fighting injustices, it's about standing up and not allowing this to happen anymore. And I know that that is something that a lot of people say, yeah, that's easy for you to say. No, it's not. It is something that is easily said, but more difficult to do. And here's the difference. is that when you take a look at all of the things that's happening right now, the rape and abuse of people, let's get a few things clear. Because I believe that clarity is a very powerful place to start from. When we have clear conversations with ourselves and we start to actually question ourselves, we get to the point where we realize, hey, where have I allowed things to happen and what have I done to prevent stuff? How has my behavior impacted somebody? And how do I affect people on a verbal, psychological, emotional level? Where do I take responsibility for myself? You see, at the end of the day, every single person needs to take responsibility for themselves. And if we could just start there, already we're on the right track. So when I look at my own past and where my story began, I can tell you amazingly gory details that'll make you want to cry, but that's the whole point. Every person on this earth has been impacted in some way or the other. Every single person on this earth has got a story where they've been hurt, where they've been belittled, where they've been brought down, where they've been bullied in one way or the other, whether it was their parents, their families, their siblings, their spouses, or even their children. Here's the thing, every single person has a story, and it is a beautiful story. The thing is, though, that everybody has been hurt in the past in one way or the other. The way we choose to use that story and our truth to move people to something more powerful, more positive. Now that's the key. That's the hard part. That is accepting and acknowledging that what happened in our past were lessons that we needed to embrace, and then take that endurance, take all of the things that it taught us and help us to encourage others. You don't have to be an inspirational or a motivational speaker to do this. To encourage somebody is part of our innate ability as human beings to communicate, whether it is by touch, by a hug, by a simple gesture of kindness. It's through your smile, it's through the thoughtfulness of your words. But here's the thing. We have that ability. Every single one of us has that ability. So what are you doing today to help to guide and support somebody else from their journey and their pain into the next steps of healing? And so when we're talking about fighting injustice, we're not talking about just worldwide. What can you do right now? What can you do right now? There are people hurting in your own homes. There are people who've been hurting each other in your own homes. Maybe you're one of those people who've been hurting people, whether it's from your comments, whether it's your innuendos, your sarcasm, your sexual jokes, whether it is physical or mental or verbal or psychological. The thing is that every single one of us need to look at ourselves and the parts we play in the injustices that we actually vomit on other people in our daily interactions. And so I'm not talking about the people out there. They must do something. Those people need to do something. Our governments need to step up. Those people need to be better leaders. No. At what point do you become a leader? Self-leadership is one of the greatest keys that can push you from where you are at right now to the point where you stand up and you step up into a role where you understand that there are people hurting and what are you going to do about this? There are amazing people out there who are doing their best, and they're doing it to the best of their ability. But see, what I found is that when people unite and they collaborate, there's power. Now there's power. It's in our ability to unite and collaborate that we can fight these injustices. And if we can create foundations based on values that actually determine the character of the human being, people are then attracted to who you are and the integrity that you hold dear to yourself, and it'll resonate through your spirit, and it'll impact people and push them and move them to realize that their circumstances does not define who they can be. You can encourage them to become who they deserve to be. You can create communities of thought leaders. You can create communities of visionaries. You see, the gender of the person doesn't determine the intelligence of the mind. And when we look at fighting injustices, people talk about gender-based violence. And I find that the challenge there is that there is a brand new way of stereotyping people and creating unconscious biases just by saying gender-based violence and only relating it to women. Now, there are women who have suffered around the world and are still suffering every single day, and that is a given. But so are men. So are children. And when people talk about gender-based violence, they're forgetting that men are abused as well. And so gender does not mean woman, it means men and women. And if we stop long enough to actually understand what we're talking about, we will realize that we are not questioning enough all of the things that we hear and that we buy into. You see, my take on this is that not all men are abusers and not all women are abused. So when we are talking, what are we now building into people? What are we speaking as our truth? How are we helping people to move from where they are to where they deserve to be? What are we doing differently? How are we challenging mindsets? Are we asking enough questions? And so when I look at this, I looked at this topic and I thought, there are so many aspects to this. And for the last 23 odd years, with a team of people, we have developed a program called Celebrating Humanity. And the whole point is to celebrate the humanness of the person. Every single person. Every person on this earth deserves to live freely on this earth without being traumatized for being a man or a woman, for their religion, for their beliefs, for their thoughts, for their experiences, for where they grew up, for their language, for the country they came from, for their sexual, for where they are sexually, in terms of whether they are gay or bisexual or they're transgender. You see, fighting injustices means that we stand up for the human being, the right for a human being to feel free and to live without fear. A lot of people are talking about human rights. You have a right to this and you have a right to that. Let's break it down to the simplicity that a human being has the right to be honored, respected, valued, and understood just as a person. And when we take a step back, we realize that when we as adults speak down to children, that's an injustice. Because what we're doing is we're using our age to overpower and dominate them. When as a man or a woman, we take advantage of another person physically, mentally, whether we strip them of their dignity, we are so wrong on so many levels. And we have no right to do that. No one person has the right to hurt another human being and not be held responsible. Every single person needs to be accountable. Every single one of us needs to be accountable. And when I think about all of the aspects of the injustices we are suffering in this world right now, it's thoughtlessness. It's a lack of respect. It is people not having moral and it's not having moral values. It's about knowing that we have the opportunity to connect with people at a deeper level and not taking that opportunity. It's knowing that we have the ability, but we choose not to. You see, every decision and choice we make has a direct repercussion on the people around us, just like the butterfly effect. Now, everybody talks about the butterfly effect, but they talk about it as if it's outside of themselves, as if it's another analogy. It's not. It's in your daily actions. So what are you intentionally doing every single day to touch the lives of the people around you? Because just in your gentleness, holding integrity at a high level in your life makes a massive difference in your ability to impact and influence people. Makes a massive difference in your ability to encourage people. So when you take a step back again, and you look at the analogies that we all buy into, all of the stereotyping and all of the innuendos, the programming and the beliefs that social media would have us believe, where we follow like sheep blindly, not understanding the impact it'll have on our world, when we don't question, we don't stand up, when we just say, it's okay, everybody else is doing it. Just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean that you've got to. Use your thinking skills. Come on. We need higher consciousness. We need a higher sense of awareness. We need to resonate at a different level, not at the level of stupidity where we follow blindly. We need to question every single thing, because this is how people control each other. This is how governments and different sects and religious people hold control over people. It's because we allow it, by not questioning, by not demanding, by not speaking our truth. The education of our children. People are talking about how it is all gone down the drain, but we allowed it for so many years. Nobody said anything, nobody did anything about it. And now suddenly when we're in a situation where you've got to actually self-educate your children, you now realize the impact of what they have been learning all this time. A sausage factory for sheep, really. When we think about all of the innovation that is coming right now, have you prepared your children enough for what is coming their way? Or are you going to sit over there and blame everybody else? It's the education system. Well, you bought into it. You pay the tuition on a monthly basis for it. You accepted it. So when we fight injustice, look at what you have been accepting for so long, for too long, and say, today, enough is enough. Today, I choose to make a decision and change the direction I am heading in, and understand that my choices and the decisions I make directly impacts the people around me. So when you set your intention, don't be selfish and make it just for yourself. Understand the repercussions of the people around you and who you are taking with you. So I'll ask again, where are you taking people? What direction are you heading in? What is your vision? What are you going to challenge? When you see men and women hurting each other, will you stand up? Will you be counted? Will you stop this two-way interactions that is devastating to both men and women? You see, because I believe that at the level of respect, all people are equal. At the level of respect, all people are equal. Now, many of you would say that respect is earned. Here's the thing. When you give respect and you're respectful, you encourage others. You entice them. You nurture them. You guide them. You show them the way. So if you're going to lead from a basis of respect always. Don't demand respect from other people. Understand this. My mission in life is to create compassionate leaders of influence. Compassion being the key to help us understand and move people from where they are to where they need to be by nurturing and honoring them, making them feel valued as human beings, listening carefully to their story without judgment. And I'm not sitting here and saying that I am perfect. I am not. But I'm a work in progress because I choose to. I understand that every single day is a daily challenge to challenge my thinking, my mindset, the words that fall out my mouth, because I realize that the intentions behind my words directly impacts the people who are listening to it. And so I take full responsibility for every single thing I say. And I'm extremely careful. And there are days that I'm not careful. And there are days that I hurt people, and I know that. But I'm aware of it. And I change it. And I do something about it. I don't sit complacently waiting for people to adjust to me. I look at how I can adjust to other people. And so when I look at the areas that I wanted to talk to you about. It's talking about being intentional, being courageous, about stepping up and stepping out, and reinstilling and reigniting values into your life. Because I believe that when you look at the glass ceiling effect, it's a choice. It is our choice to buy into injustice in the same way that we buy into the sayings that we allow into our lives. It's in the same way that we allow the thoughts of others to guide us and prevents us from having the lives we deserve. And if you thought about something as simple as the glass ceiling effect, I always say to people, challenge every single thing you hear. Don't just accept it. Question it. The quality of the question that you ask yourself is directly related to the quality of the actions you will take, and directly related to the quality of the results you will have in life, which then determines the quality of the lifestyle you will live. Now, my amazing coach, Christian Simpson, talks about the quality of questions. My incredible partner, Moore-Robberts, talks about standing up for your truth. He stands his ground every single day. Gunther, an amazing friend of ours, has created a system that helps young people to become entrepreneurs, but allows something bigger. It recreates and redirects the education system where entire communities are involved. We have stunning people. We have a coach, Coach Kamrul Hassan. He is an incredible man that in Bangladesh, he is changing the mindsets of people by challenging mindsets. He's bringing leadership on so many platforms to thousands of people. You see, every single bit counts. And I'm only talking about the few people in my life. And because of that, I created a system or a movement called Ladies and Gentlemen Unite, collaborating for each other's success. Because I understand that men and women connecting gives us the amazing, incredible insights from both experiences. We have intuitive and we have strength. We have powerful and we have got strategic. We've got nurturing and we have got amazing belief and follow through. It takes the greatness of both sides, both men and women. And then when you look at young and old, we need the experiences of the older generation and we need the brilliance of young minds. We need innovation, and the only way we can do that is by connecting. The art of connecting on the level of humanness. Emotional connection is something that people talk about, but very few people know how to do it. And the brilliance of that is by embodying the beauty of values in your life. And so when we're thinking about it, our program Celebrating Humanity is about getting people to the point where they respect and honor each other as human beings. Ladies and gentlemen, get men and women, regardless of their age, regardless of where they are, to collaborate, mentor, coach, guide, and support each other on each other's journey of success. And then when you look at values-based leadership, a sustainable personal development program, it's about getting people to the level where they can build their character as human beings. And so when I was talking about the glass ceiling effect, I spoke about challenging mindsets, challenging the words that we allow into our lives. And when I talk about the glass ceiling effect, I always say to people, what is preventing you from growing? What is preventing you from fighting injustice right now? Nothing except your mind and your thoughts, your belief in yourself. Glass ceiling effect is something that was used and is being used as an excuse for why people cannot grow, why they cannot go to the next levels in their lives, why they can't do anything. It is an excuse. And so when you think about the glass ceiling effect, glass is transparent, it is see-through and can be shattered. Which means all of this time you've been using that as an excuse for why you can't stand up for the bullies in your life, why you'll allow narcissists to continue doing what they do, for why racism is still rife, for why people are still being mean and disgusting to somebody of a different sexual orientation, why we don't accept people for who they are, why we use religion for wars, why we use religious beliefs to hold down people and hold people back. Why there are many countries where women are not allowed. Who gave people the right to say you are not allowed. That is one word I will not allow in my life, is the word allow. You can't allow me to live my life. I will live my life regardless of what you do. Which means that I've got choice. Take away that word. Nobody can actually put you down and hold you down unless you allow them to. Remove the word allow. Just stop it. In order to fight injustice, you need to understand that you need to break boundaries. The things that hold you down, your thinking, your subconscious mindset. Reinstill values of understanding, of connection, of humanity, of communicating effectively, of empathy, of compassion, of respect. Respect the human being, regardless of how you feel about them. Don't be the reason why you destroy somebody else's life because of your thoughts, because of your programming, because of your unconscious biases. Stand up for the people who don't have a voice right now and encourage them. Get them to the point where they believe that they deserve to be respected and they stand up for themselves. That is the whole point of being a person of influence, isn't it? If we keep talking about impacting people's lives, what are you impacting them with? Always hear people say, don't come down to somebody else's level. Okay, I'll challenge you on that too. Don't come down to somebody else's level, bring them up to yours. But if you are not evolving, what are you bringing them up to? If you are stagnating, what are you bringing people up to? See, at the end of the day, injustice can be fought on many levels. It can be in the positive way you interact with people. It could be the kindness and the generosity of your words. It could be in the thoughtfulness of your spirit. It's in the way you share your reality with people. It can be in the way you speak your truth. Because your truth will challenge those people who need to be challenged, and will hold accountable the people who are vomiting their injustices on our human beings. The people who are hurting humanity. The people we are allowing to do this. Stand up and be counted. And know that every step of the way that you're worth it as a human being. And as I've said before, at the level of respect, all people are equal. It is something that is very, very, very deep for me. And there's something else that I believe that is really pertinent to this conversation. In this lifetime of fighting injustice, understand this, that you will not relate like every single person you interact with. In fact, give yourself full permission that you will not like every human being you interact with. However, your ability to show respect and be respectful is a direct reflection on your character as a human being. Your ability to show respect and be respectful is a direct reflection on your character as a human being. So I ask you, who will you stand up for? When you speak, what are the intentions behind your words? In your actions, how will it impact people? In your thoughts and your wisdom, how will you influence others? How will you guide and support and collaborate and connect? How will you help your fellow human beings to overcome and fight these injustices that we find every single day in our daily lives, behind closed doors, and even openly in public? What are you going to do? And if you are ready for a journey that is mind-blowing and incredible and fascinating, and we know is guaranteed to change people's lives, join us. Join Moore-Robberts, myself, and our team. And you can learn more about our stuff on www.keyleadership.com. That is KIleadership.com. join us and understand that there are many solutions in this life and lifetime that can impact people. And all of the things that I was talking about, fighting injustices, it can and will be done, and we can have an amazing world based on you stepping up and stepping out of your comfort zone and demanding it. So from myself, I am Arthie Moore from South Africa, and from all of the people that I surround myself with, we send you healing light and love. And wherever you are, please be safe and know that you're loved, lovable, and respected as a human being. And we honor you. And from my side, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to connecting and collaborating with all of you. Bye-bye.